everyone, welcome back to Just Listen to One podcast. I am going to be talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard a little bit in this podcast. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, let me know. And if you want me to do more podcasts like these, let me know in the comments. I would appreciate it. Gypsy Rose, she is 32 years old. Her birthday is July 27th, 1991. She was born in Golden Meadow, LA. She was in prison for 7 years, and living place is, as of right now, when I am making this podcast, her living place is Aurora in southwestern area of the state. She has a half brother named Dylan. So let me get into this whole story of Gypsy Rose and her mother. Dee Dee began pretending that Dee Dee is her mom. If you guys don't know already, Dee Dee began to pretending that Gypsy has different illnesses when Gypsy was a baby. Gypsy Rose, who was born in 1991, was a baby when Dee Dee claimed that her daughter had sleep apnea, apnea. When Gypsy was 8 years old, Dee Dee described her suffering from leukemia and a muscle dysphoria, like a muscle illness, and she had required a wheelchair and a feeding tube. The list of medical problems Dee Dee relayed about her daughter would include seizures, asthma, hearing, and other kind of visual impairments. Due to Dee Dee's action, Gypsy was prescribed lots of different kind of medications that had to sleep using breathing machine. She also went through multiple surgeries, including procedures on her eyes and removal of salivary glands. When Gypsy's teeth rotted, perhaps due to certain kind of medications, missing multiple glands, or neglected, they were pulled out. Yet the truth of Gypsy would walk and didn't need a feeding tube and didn't have any kind of illnesses like cancer and seizures, etc. Her head was bald because her mother shaved her head. Experts believe Dee Dee had mental illness such as, don't know how to pronounce this word, I'm going to spell it out, Munchausen syndrome by proxy, also known as fractious disorder impulse on other, which made her fabric on her daughter's illness in order to receive attention and sympathy to take care of a fake sick child. Dee Dee appeared to be a charming, devoted mother, so people believe her. Medical tests that shows that Gypsy is a normal, healthy girl. But Dee Dee would stop seeing doctors who question her self-diagnosis practically. And many caregivers went along with Dee Dee's wanted, as she had some nurses trained. So she would accurately describe the symptoms, and she sometimes gave Gypsy medication to mimic certain conditions. Dee Dee also charmed and seemed devoted to her daughter. When Gypsy was old enough to talk, Dee Dee instructed not to volunteer information during their appointments. She always the one fake the mental health, practically took over her life practically. Dee Dee's told Gypsy's father, Rod Blanchard, that their daughter had chromosomal disorder that led to many of her health issues. He complimented Dee Dee's for devoted care. When some Dee Dee's family noticed that Gypsy didn't need the wheelchair, they asked questions. Dee Dee and Gypsy moved away. Dee Dee claimed to be a victim of Hurricane Christina. Sorry if I'm pronouncing some stuff wrong. So she and Gypsy relieved assistance and relocated from Louisiana to Missouri in 2005. There, Dee Dee continued to bring Gypsy to doctor's appointments. Even when Gypsy was a teenager, Dee Dee still claimed that she was sick and began to lie about Gypsy's age. In 2008, Gypsy and Dee Dee moved to a new home in Springfield, Missouri, built by Habitat for Humanity. It was painted pink and had a wheelchair ramp. Gypsy and Dee Dee also received benefits, including charity-sponsored visits to concerts and Disney World. All along, Dee Dee continued to basket the attention she received for being the devoted caretaker. When Gypsy was 14, she saw a neutral a person in Missouri who believed she was a victim of abuse, and however, this doctor never reported it in her case. Authorities in later interviews, he started his belief that there wasn't enough evidence to act. In 2009, an anonymous reporter was made to stating that Dee Dee's accounts of Gypsy's medical history. This results to 2 caseworkers visiting their home, but Dee Dee convinced there was nothing wrong. As Gypsy grew older, Dee Dee began to lie about her age, going as far as alter the dates of Gypsy's birth certificate and to make her daughter seem much younger. But Gypsy was still becoming harder for Dee Dee to control. There are stories of her, like The Act on Hulu. Gypsy recently came out of the prison. I'm going to be reading What Did Gypsy Blanchard Do and Where Is She Now? I'm going to read some of this. Gypsy Rose, the child abuse victim, killing her mother, who had released from prison beginning of 2024 as a free woman. She's 32, was released from Missouri on December 28th at 3:30 a.m. A spokesperson from Missouri said 3 years before original release date, and that's about it. I'm trying to find As a condition of her parole, Gypsy can't be in any contact with her ex-boyfriend, Nicholas, who killed her mother and served a lifetime in prison. Gypsy served 8 years in prison for the murder of her mother, Dee Dee, with her ex-boyfriend at the time, Nicholas. The former plotted to kill Dee Dee after subject Gypsy to years unnecessary medical treatment and convince her daughter and other people. It was later argued that the court Gypsy was a victim of some kind of syndrome. I'm trying to find more information on Dee Dee. Go back. I know that she is currently married. A condition of her parole, Gypsy cannot be unconnected to her. A condition of my parole, this is kind of, I believe, what she has said in an interview. A condition of my parole is that I cannot have any contact with Nicholas, or Nick, aka Nick. I do not want any contact. Gypsy told people on multiple interviews prior her release. I feel responsible for putting him in this situation. However, the act to the murder, he was all him as well. I mean, everybody has a choice, but he went through with it. And so he paying his sentence, I pay mine. That's what her thought on it. Gypsy served 8 years in prison of her mother, Dee Dee, with her, at that time, boyfriend, Nick. The former couple plotted to kill Dee Dee after a subject of Gypsy to years of necessary medical treatments and convince her daughter and other people, now 32, had a illness child. It was later argued to the court Gypsy was a victim of MUNCHAUNES syndrome by proxy, former child abuse that involved guardian engagement or include illness of sympathy. Gypsy said that in Mommy Dead and Darius in 2017 HBO documentary about the case that on the night of the murder, she and Dee Dee gave the other manuxes, and Gypsy did put Dee Dee in bed, promising to be a good girl. After Dee Dee fell asleep, Nicholas entered the room. Gypsy recalled and recalled, and Gypsy hid in the bathroom while Nicholas stabbed Dee Dee to death. In 2018, Gypsy told the court 2 weeks before her mother's murder she changed her mind because she started having doubt and second thoughts. After the prior to got into the argument days later, Gypsy decided she wanted Dee Dee to die and that Nicholas to travel to Wisconsin to Missouri to kill her. Gypsy said in court, according to who Springville knew later, when asked who got talked to killing Dee Dee, Gypsy responded to the court, "I did. I talked to him into it," the paper reported. Gypsy pleaded guilty in 2016, was sentenced 10 years in prison. Nicholas, 32, was sentenced to life in prison without parole in 2019, following his trial convincing of first-degree murder. In July of 2019, Nicholas gave a rare interview from prison and appeared on the Oxygen special Gypsy, Rose, and Nick in Love to Kill. In clip of the interview, Nicholas recalled his relationship. Gypsy was calling it the best days of our lives. "From the beginning, I just knew we were soulmates." He continued. "Those 5 days when I actually was with her, physically with her, those 5 days were the most intense and magical and awe-inspiring days that we've had." Nick said the interview that he felt killing Dee Dee was reassuring. He made Gypsy could spend their lives together. "Somehow I just knew deep within my heart some way and her would end up together at the end of the day. There was no other option. We got to do this," he said, referring to the murder. "I wanted to make sure her mom was not going to harm anyone like that." In 2002, while she was in prison, Gypsy married Ryan Scott Anderson, a Louisiana special education teacher. If you suspect child abuse, call Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4-A-CHILD or 1-800-422-4453, or go to their website. Their hotline is 24/7 in more than 170 languages. The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose is a 6-hour offering on I'm trying to look up at more information. Gypsy Rose grew up with her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, making claims about her health that results in series of dire diagnoses and medical interventions. However, Gypsy wasn't unwell. Her mother had been lying to her. Symptoms experts believe Dee Dee's behavior stemmed from medical disorders. Because Dee Dee wanted to be a caretaker, she induced mental illnesses in her daughter. The truth about Gypsy and her mother came out after Gypsy arranged online boyfriend murdered Dee Dee in 2015. Dee Dee pretended that Gypsy had different illnesses when Gypsy was a baby. Gypsy Rose was born in 1991. She was a baby when Dee Dee claimed her daughter had a sleeping disorder when Gypsy was 8 years old. Dee Dee described her suffering leukemia and muscle disorders, and she required a wheelchair, feeding tube. Yet the truth that Gypsy would walk, didn't need a feeding tube, didn't have cancer. I think I already read this. Yes, I did. I'm gonna just end the podcast here. There are numerous different kind of shows and movies on Gypsy. There is Mommy Dead and the Rest. Gypsy Rose, that was in 2017. Gypsy's Revenge in 2018. The Prison Confessions in 2024. And the Act on Hulu. So yeah, I hope you guys like this podcast, and if you guys do, if you want me to make a part 2 on this, let me know. Or if you want me to try to get a hold of Gypsy and have her in my podcast, let me know. And if you guys enjoy this podcast, let me know by liking, subscribing, sharing this podcast, and I will see you next week. Bye.